Then you should try to together.
This one. Not cool. That is one.
Huh?
Not cool.
Just use the and do everything. So I just sign out. Because will you put in spotlight now?
它是什么？它是什么？它是 host 吗？
是，那是可
什么？它连一个
We have to sign it.
Okay, well, I don't have that. Hello, good evening, everyone. How are you today? Good. Yes, before we start the Vajrasattva Initiation, and Chen will be coming down shortly to do the ceremonies. as you understand that if you wish to take the initiation, you need to be on vegetarian diet today. And so I think we thought that some of you may not be able to be on vegetarian diet today, so you need to do one step.
Yeah.
We're going to pour a blessed water for every one of you. You just have to hold your hand with a pour and you put your mouth, not drink, rinse your mouth. And then row by row, we will have a pail behind, then we spit out. Okay, it means to purify. Okay, can we have one volunteer here? Henry? Henry or Jane? So, sorry, our space are a bit small, so we'll go row by row, okay? Yes. So we'll start row by row. So four of you then speed up, then come back, we go to the second row. Okay? Got some rows? Yes. Those rings. Now we change to this. It's better. Okay, have the second row, please. This row. Go there, they'll give you the water. So that we don't see it. That's right. If you're already on vegetarian diet, you can opt out to the bit. So that's the blessed water from the new name retreat that we just completed over the weekend. Okay, and we have this second row, please. Okay, then the fourth row. We are already on vegetarian diet, we can opt not to. I'm not on vegetarian diet. Yes. I just go like 那个 bill 哈，我们要搬去外面。Oh, the near the door because when in case more people come down. Welcome back, TP. But only the second thing.
Yellow color bubble.
After 6 7 because it consent.
I'll be back when you come back. Oh, okay. Oh, so,
Is it okay?
yeah, it's okay. Can sit for now. Recite the 100 syllable or recite Om Vajrasattva Hum. Yeah. Any of the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Hum. No? Yeah. Om Vajrasattva Hum. If you know the full one, then Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva, the full one also. Okay. Just keep reciting. Yes. Sorry.
That's very request to fasting.
Yeah, to while I do the preparation.
Okay.
So, good evening. So, when I do the set preparation, self-generation, please recite the mantra of Vajrasattva, either the 100 syllable, Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupala, the full, or the short one, Om Vajrasattva Hum. Okay. Yes, you can just do it. You can be seated for now. Shall we? All the dishes. What are you doing? Oh, good job. It's not some work for you. Dağla dirbe sönüm jijodo demba gece kader şozo gece cümle cebe loje don besa nave ekşi zor tabi lame debe gonde dembe de la jaze imoje nazor da da dejem dobe naze de mejam gece çöde sönüm jijo kela ceba be naşe dome dene sabahı lüha yezon mi gece dan ke bara don baz ke mi de 因年就把这个所说的山里面的这梦的这老人这些方便就天这梦过这些老先生。那这三八大约一浪我就是那么两百天能就这边看了现在真的能知道身边的人怎么。所以这些什么我都是那些今年上面有啊的，在那多跟老旁边那开吧，就是路上的。那边你不很多就是说明明这些现在是前面我们这边，结果我们的政策上面的，那这这边逐渐状况把路上特别小方说，给我更多呀，把那么他这边直接把老公最近是吧，他们给的老准。多些曾经过往年的就那么很多些什么什么了说，就跟他说上不得。那什么那么多老说是大多的那人飞机虽然讲他妈妈这个，当然飞机不都跟忙嘛，都是买那个飞机。另外一种结婚的地方没结婚，只有结婚了这嘛，结婚了结婚了就那结婚了结婚了，所有的人他不能搞的，就身边老婆能搞的，啥那搞的，我他妈的都。天摩那个那个日本那个什么日本那个日本的不就是那那边的地方，咱们这帮那个那个的，或者在网上世界上这边的地方，那这边地方明天做的也基本上就是这个地方了，就说也让我说吧，可能当地上台北接受就行，或者那个就便宜，所以超级吧，这他妈不是。天摩老说不说就那随便上去的，只有什么就在就这么那个这样个没事不差不也这么。最近相当大的话，那的话那会儿就也嘛就嘛相当的大，别说。说。No。去年能过的身体变得也点多，浪漫多些三宝浪接有工作上变化呢，就往浪就会让当他我多身边同学他好了，你说那你这是个那个送了点送多身边他们这大爷就成就那老给我的。但就是那样的也工作中了，就是说身边他们这大爷的，那就那老给我的，那就是那样的。工作送了就是说身边他们这大爷的，成就那老给我。那就是那样的一些让你给我方面的变化的。也是我的方面搞过的，方言搞过，他们这边方面搞过，方面搞过的，他们这边在我的活动搞过，先到位的。也等到后面搞过的，多些搞过在忙过，天天也在我后面搞这个讲。越来越这跑跑能这些身边那些这些上面，除了这些多些红糖这个老的。当所都是呢，都是三宝五多个东西，这张写好了点，都是在我把当吃我这，都话大家也听到后面搞不的了，这了马不解决到，解决了的。那现在我这边一年，那现在我这边一年，这三宝，这把那这把那。哎呀，都给我们你说没法了，这把上你说没法了这。哎呀，都给我们来，这我现这个做做呢，我给了，这嘛也给我们检查过。以前是把这嘛也给我们他们这些去做些什么，我把网过做这些什么。忘了，天能也些也就是云高呀，我别去我们沙拉当，还边给俺的什么呀，这些也要我去。可是那我这边也用也可以写些这些经济方面，他们也可以接受到这方面说就这个用过的这个我来讲过就。感觉。慢慢的基本上嘛，这边工作上面，我也就完了，就是当当当，我们多时间，他们这样弄。 你说呢？你这些的这个说送到这个装这些东西，那也是那就那个关键，那样那也就。这个也就我朋友个过来，他妈这边的我阿东个过来，他也跟我的这种别个过来，做这些么子，在嘛吧，这个在我朋友个边这么的了，这跑吧那这些是这样的，这这边多了这点么子，啊这吧完了那这吧了。要做这什么我说我之前那你也学会点做这什么包装做这直播的话，用多这你妈帮忙去介绍你也是务上这帮子的，有你讲到上边那啥的，我去给你肩膀要做这给动的，用背面给动的。也别多管那点个的，我们也没问的了，什么我这个的我这边那些的话，就是一年到这我也有那么。那么这边有些国家用钱的呢，这不同，你说没吧？这个那样不一样，这我觉得这个出去了，我给老人啊也用那钱那吧，一些保证啊也用他们这些这边都是也用的了，我把网过都是这，什么这边我那边那边给的这方面不对，我们说到那个那边，现在什么样去这也红些说的都是你用不了网过的，这个别过也这个就是有点烦。他们也别去做到的话，我做这个的，每个月我报到这，我这次没有钱报来就，我这个东西现在都非常都搞不出来的，就那么设计的都是的。有几多钱到点钱呢？后来我们那以前那点个边个那边的就现在说现在买这边的，那他们直接当这个直接知道。这个都上海给他们这边他们这边到把这都是这做完这个都给后面我这边这把的，这个我这把生产他不差不多这些把这把。我身边过往了，不是老年人就在把咱们把这些话这些了，多你边就完别，就有的那边都说，我从都远远的那种这些就这个我在干嘛的，什么着那这个什么的，到这也别都有后面好像那这个，我也是接到的这个，不是我来了，不是我说过什么，好像那这个完这个是多一点。就是你给过一些其他就完全别都愿意做那么这个我是你看我这个这个我怎么别超过那个问题。因为是那他们这边的，那他们这老的出去那种，地主那边就我们地主他们这就不到水果那个好像钱不都行，那呢对，结婚对小对结婚对七八了，你别说我了旁的，那些那些都这边没办法，我叫我那个都不到这边特别的那的。我这个种这样啊，我现在别人说什么就是好像说什么另一个这个有关系。这些里边的基本上那个那不行，我到了那这边都在你往那老这边到这儿，反正这些我也懂得的。对吧？那这是就我都在那边的是，我当时在这边的结果今天这个上下我都在那边的。那你也把用这个把钱给了我，你弄我这样子呢，就在现在那个帮忙，你那过来去了嘛，就在那结果这些这个帮忙那些地方对吧？那么到今年过来上。那我们说国外这个说那么多，这个多半你说这个，大概跟我这个么，也是年后年都这什么，那我们也怎么这个月这样说，这样这样这样做这帮人，你都这什么活动什么，时间看你也是。突发一点到这些年，这个过日子我他大的过去年那多些钱把其他这些也怎么都这个这个这也多大家这种一个我这个。这些我经常做，我们好，你是没办法，大家都给我们这边我给他们这些给他们给他们我都是这些做的。现在你对这个也不包做呢，我们是我的那个啥，阿边现在什么也是的，红线网过来的，对，你这边我见到了有，这啊，这咱们那个好，这个好吧，就这个我这个，东方人都就是东北那人啊，东北就是。那这东西就是八个八的，跟这边的我们这个是八个八的，这边我就跟着就，这个我现在说好，很多些申报申报制，很多些电信申报制，很多些通过分子。 上在上当多些了，上在上当多些。人主个人的月，等到红一节，他那一节，我那月先出去给个三主个人的月，等到红一节，他一节我那月先出去没个那这个，就不用啊，就稍微什么，这个结果嘛，我都那吧，嘛个那，这我们知道吧，嘛个那种，这个没有说没有说没有说没有说没有说没有说没有说没有说嘛，说没有说没有说没有说老子没有说过没有啊嘛嘛老子都不不还有说然后这把毛子没有说哦，这把毛子没有说哦，应该是蛮没么的，这把毛子没有说哦，没有说。这东西我嘛，我晚上说的那个，这个没得吧，马上没说啊，这个事情没回来，说我是没这东西我嘛，我晚上说的那个，这个没说吧，马上没说啊，这个没我说还没我说还没马上都没把啥子没有啥个我说没这东西我啊，我嘛这个啥都啊，我还没说还没完呢，我再把这个啥个我这个啊，我晚上说，反正嘛没么事，反正把马上没说啊，这东西我们好往上说的话，不是把马上没说啊，就是没把我说不说还没完，我没把啥子啥个嘛，就这么马上没说啊。别人这啥都是我不来不来不来我说还没我说还没把啥事没说我说那个啊那天反正把马上没说啊，反正把面目这边是把马上没说啊，没。要在旁边不是别的吧，马上买啥都啊，不是什么，是吧？但是旁边不是别的吧，马上买啥都啊，别的什么什么，那个做是吧？很多人都没把啥子，没把啥个么说的，是的，比如好吧，那啥子，那个没把啥，没说没把那个没把啥子，没把啥个么说的，没说，我们把马上买什么，我不知道。这方面不是本身吧，马什么也做多啊，哎，我们什么是不说啊，什么说啊，这个好，你说这个方面嘛，方面那个当下的结果结就，红年多些红结什么的嘞，这对你些比用说句话的。多些什么不多个我学习的用多句话呢？多些什么不多个我学习长你也多玩多些这些语直播不多的我他把的我学习也他们这些，怎么这些也这帮要多些一种艺术吧，这也多的来的老红一个问的来这的相关些然后我你说没关系，那样多元红的有时这边我给他们这个这个。那样都给我们有些这个我给他们简单可能给他们我不多是说这边他们别的这看我都是老公说我这个这还别的问题 samaya shiri wang she wang guru kui she wang guru lui shi om mi yu ve wo jen pa ren ju om om ben sa om ben sa sa a gang ba de chen de so om de sa ba de 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 Bana sa ba de ba de de so ba de sa de ba de de so ba de sa ala ge ba de de so ba de de ge de ba de de so ba de 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 ba de de Raza shen bo ba de zhen shu han du zhi zhen ba shen ba ji du li de yin shen gong de zhi tong bu gong de tang zai shan nang du zhi ma zhong jian de du guo lan de wei de du li de ba de bo de zhe zhu zhi mi guo dan zhi wei yang da wo yo on bian zhe sa de sa ma ya ma bo lai de na de bo de de bo de na lo su han ma na de bo sa de de de哦这什么什么什么什么有这种我们这种什么样，我都不样，别人说什么我说还没我说还没我，那我都没我，他是还没十二个我说的，这里我我帮了，帮了，帮忙这样子啊。我本身都什么样，我都不能样，别人说什么这这没我说还没我说还没我，那我都没把啥子这个我说的，我帮了，啥子我这种都不帮啊。我没有什么我都不能就是那么这么我说还没我说还没我，那我都没把啥子没把啥子我说的真对不？我帮了啥子我这个不能帮啊。我们这什么样么？那不来，那么点人，我说还没吧，说还没吧，那我都没吧，少是你别啥个嘛，说那那个我们爬好吧，你说这个，真的，我们这个什么嘛，什么什么，我们这个什么样，我都不来，这个，啊嘛，这个好好的，说，啊，我好那个，现在嘛，面我这个那个嘛，什么是啊，我们那个什么。我们这是个什么样？我们本来也不是那么点儿，这没包说还没包说还没包，那都没包，啥事都没啥，我是没啥中国跑跑那种那种的，那个往那个啥包。那是个什么样？我们本来也不是说那么点儿，这没包说还没包说还没包，那都没包啥子，没包啥，我是没这个给我跑跑那啥的那个那个包啥。这是什么样？我们本来也不是那么点儿，我说。Pensa ma non so pensa ma so ma so ma so ma non bana no Un pensato somma non dopo la presa il numero del numero su ma non dovrebbe parlare di ma dovevo su avevo su avevo non dovevo soldi dovevo solo come se ne che ha buon solo un pensato somma non dopo la presa il numero del numero su avevo non dovevo ha buon solo pensa ma cosa cosa ma cosa non dopo la presa il numero del numero su avevo solo Pensa, ma mia moglie pensava, ma insomma, stato, vedendo come me lo pone. Ma insomma, io sono, me lo pone, Bello, sono super, quando me lo Pensavo, ma insomma, io sono, insomma, mi è pensavo, ma insomma, sono, pensavo, ma insomma, io sono, pensa, insomma, io non lo farei per Sava si tiene a variare, stava chiamato da me, da fine come ma so da quando da ma samaya da da so samaya non va da da ma ne mo da da ma samaya da da samaya non va da da so ma da so 당시에 불마 마나 저나 간다면 뭐서 마사마야 산다 좀된데 좀제 semba 다시 심제 탐제 지지비 탐제 남자 탐 정신 다바르즈는 조dengi ngörum de la do de do su 이제 주소 definition. Yeah. If you had not prostrated before, you can do now. And if you had already done, you can just remain seated. What is it? Onu dışarı yapacağız. Bunu bilmiyorum şeydir. Onu da maalesef öyle. Var. Devam. Esko düşecek sürücü. Öteki. Welcome back. Before we start the Vajrasattva. Vajrasattva. So there are certain prerequisites from the teacher's side, which is to do the self-preparation, and then to do the gektor, which is to ward off the obstacles. So the first one, the preparation, self-preparation is already done while I was sitting down there. Second one is to do the warding off the obstacles. So warding off the obstacle in tradition is the whenever we do something positive, whenever we do something good, you might have faced that in like your day-to-day life, that whenever you try to do something good, someone tries to pull your leg, someone tries to push you down. So this is not something, just your imagination. It does really happen everywhere.
And that's the reason whenever we have the teachings, we either do the Heart Sutra or Sutra related, Sutra and Tantra. So usually in the Tantra Sutra related teachings, prior to the Sutra related teachings, the Lamas, the teacher starts with the Heart Sutra, and then does clapping, right, to ward off the obstacle. And then the Tantra, Vajrayana teachings, usually they do prayers to Kalarupa. Okay, it's a form of deity, it's a form of Dharma protector, as well as do we call it Gek Tor in Tibetan. Gek means obstacle, Tor is short for Torma. Torma for the obstacles or Torma for the hindrances. So there are multiple, there are many beings, sentient beings, yeah, in different forms, spirit form, human form, non-human form, who wish that these things do not go successfully. And so what we do is we invite them, make offerings to them, pacify them, and then basically, yeah, we pacify them, negotiate. And then so the negotiation actually has like a twofold. There's a peaceful negotiation, which is like, okay, I have this torma for you. This very delicious torma cake, the best cake in the world, most delicious one, creamy and everything. If you take this, please enjoy this. It has all the we always yeah. So it's very delicious, yummy, and all that. It's nutritious and everything. So have that in lieu of harming us, whatever you may want to get from us, the participant, the students, the teacher, the volunteer, everyone. So instead of harming us, take this as your gift, and then please go do your things. And the second part is, if you do not do that, if you do not follow the peaceful method, then we have an arsenal of weapons to attack you. so we have the Vajra the Vajra arsenal. So that will you will never find peace wherever you go if you do not follow that. I'm just yeah. So the reason I said that out is because lately, like for the last 5 years or more than, yeah, very much last 5 years since COVID, and even before that, maybe 2-3 years, even before that, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has stopped doing this practice. Okay, so not being this is negative or anything. So His Holiness, whenever, yeah, since almost 8 years ago, yeah, even before the COVID, he made it a practice from his side to not to do the gektor, the obstacle torma. And his reason was that there is nothing to differentiate, to discriminate between what is harmful and what is not harmful. So we are all of us who come here, who attended here, are in search of something, in a pursuit of something. All of the attendees, including the person who is speaking to you right now from the throne, we are all pursuing something. And the same pursuit is that the same goal, the harm givers, the violent spirits, they also have a similar, they also have a pursuit, they have a goal too. And so basically we are all same, the Danyan Parma, which is the enemy, the friend, and the stranger. All our goal is same, to have happiness. So even the people who come to harm us, they come in looking for something to help them, something good for them. So in that usually we are all same in that flavor, that nature, that essence. So therefore, there's nothing to distinguish between those who want to harm us and those who wish to, be conducive to this or contributory. Whether you are contributing to this event this particular event, or whether you are trying to bring us down. We are at the end of the day, we are all same in having the same pursuit, same aspiration to have happiness. So therefore, there is nothing to distinguish. That's His Holiness' point of view. And His Holiness since 8 years ago, so he's not doing any of the gektor anymore. Because as I said, gektor has twofold, the peaceful part and the non-peaceful part. And he thinks, so from his deep, profound meditative practice, especially coming from the compassionate practices of a generosic in human form, generosic Avalokiteshvara, generosic Guan Yin in a human form, with the magnitude of compassion that he has, the profundity of compassion that he carries. So this is something. So it is not something for that just any teacher, anyone who is professing themselves as a teacher can do. So therefore, it is beyond my reach. So I have to succumb to the traditional method, which is to do the gekdo. Yeah. So basically, we will follow according to tradition. We always do the gekdo. So we do the gekdo. And then, so we do the gekdo now. 계실라? 준비 매치. rangi ndogi omle mezo zhuzhen zhuzhen zong ba duwa me ba jie zhang hongmo mi xie gebe me dang ba le ma ri debe mi gam tam jie xie dang xin jie ji gua tam jie zhung bo jin be ba zi da ba jie lo jian debe lo jian xin ben tan yuan zha de wa ri be ge bo zhuo wo shu zu lo jian debe le do jian jian nan zhu be dian jian xie ge jian zu om be za sa ma za om be za ma gu da la da sa pa ri wa ra Argambadem, Argambadete, Soha, Omebeza. Omebeza Magundaranza Sabari Vara, Padim Badizem, Soha, Omebeza Magundaranza Sabari Vara, Pubia Badizem, Soha, Omebeza Magundaranza Sabari, Dubia Badizem, Soha, Omebeza Magundaranza Sabari Vara, Alogia Badizem, Soha, Omeza Magundaranza Sabari Vara, Nyudia Badizem, So Gendia Badizem, So Omeza Magundaranza Sabari Vara, Nyudia Badizem, So Omeza Magundaranza Sabari Vara, Shada Badizem, So this one. Badizem, So Ha, Huo, Chuni Dongba Nimen Aniele, Jiden Jebe Sui Hami Mosh. Tala yebe je je gu jian bo, cho jian bo wen zo la cha, ze lo ye xie xie wen a le ma yue jiang, gu li che lo sa xie gang da xie. So ye a lo de zhong di le da, ma li wang de di we cha zi. Ma li wang de di la cha zi la la be xie zhe bo den ze jian, di we chen cha na zo cha na na wang yu mong do jie zi ne chung zi. Zhu du gen ge ge la cha zi la ge be me la ba we long ge na, ba we ning da jian wu zi do. Nida barwe jenge dame ge, gevon sewa ze la cha, ze lo tum jen de de, me dara se je bana, kodon ju jen na nye jawa. Nga me nga ro bu ro tong jen zha, zho ge ge zo de la cha, ze lo hong, jikwe hong zha nge zha jing, gen na ma le chom se. Nga zho tam je ze ze we ge ge da la cha ze, de, mo shi je, we je dan, Ombe, omo so ba shu do sa, dama so ba shu do ham, dong ba ni do Dong bian a liang bun le rinpo che, nuen shen jia che we nam je nang do, la zhe le zhu bian, ye yu to ma tang shen, to pa me ba nam ba tang nian ba ra yu, rang ye du ge hom le we se chu, rang ye do je sin bian jen nang che ba la, pa do zhu bian, ye ge to tam je, go ba ra yu ra, sa mi na, na ma sa wa da tang, ba ya me ga mo ye sa wa da tang ga da, hong ga de sa wa na yi ma, Gana Balinda Yeso Hai Omale Sabina Nama Savada Gada Bayra Begamo Yebe Savada Gada Ungade Savarana Imana Daga Balinda Yeso Hai Oma Savamina Nama Savada Gada Bayra Begamo Yebe Savada
Unga desa parana imana gagana balinda yeso hai. Umo sumane sumane grana 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 ma grana. Anaya bhavana vidara zahum be sumane sumam grana 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 ma grana bhavana bhavana vidara zahum. Sumane sumam sumane sumam grana 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 ma grana ma anaya bhavana vidara zahum. Sumane sumam grana 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 ma grana bhavana bhavana vidara zahum. Sumane sumam grana 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 ma grana. Anaya bhavana vidara zahum be. Let's go. Numan gejon jembo sashi lanembe, homo gejon jembo sashi lanembe, lala sobe gezo kunyuenchi, ngani ne dir jenan samo che, kenam dine shendo jore, kede ngaye kalenda jena, yeshe jigen doje barwa yen, go seba genen gejo, kenam labara gyurwa deme sa, namo, jesu zao da gyuwa cheba, kande lama nam yek nama nam yek kade bada, sanji jik kade bada, shuki kade, kede jik kade bada, dinye sheba da doje da, rinpo chita, pema da, leje rizo shubha da, nyingbo da, chage da, sanga da, ringa gil, hei, keba tam chita, keba tam yashim dine baya jebe, chenje chenje la zonam yeka, dema da, dema chimbe chenje lab ye, jena cheba la, pato shubha jiga, chotam che, cho chenje doma diye, tsimar chala, nye bada, tsebe samba nye bada, mche bona, pema da, dewa, shubha sumna, dema rana, su zene, so, songa, she, yeke, demi, rana, towa, chiga, do, jeme, rana, bawa, name, chi, nambar jomba, deme, za, o, omo, sumba, ne, sumba, hum, grana, 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 ba, grana, ba, anaya, ba, hawa, ne, videra, za, hum, be, omo, sumba, ne, sumba, grana, 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 ba, grana, ba, anaya, ba, hawa, ne, videra, za, Omo sumane sumo grana 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 ba grana ba anaya medara zombe lomba ni do jor dombe mane maso bawa shuda sa da maso bawa shuda hama domani do jor dombe mala ya me no ye jingwa do be do je shuda bo je se ye zan ba de ya dan do ram me me ya jingwa ma bo do so par ya chang ti ben do je ye jing ba de ya dan do am la chu yi ji bo ga bo no bo bo me zan de ya dan do ram la se ye ji wo se bo do je do je zan be我们那都是电话long，也是蛮的嘞。我说的嘞，是我都这边都是上些，我说这边都是让我等到这边都是过了过年我来，都现在的，他们这样都是把这那些把咱们把都我就到那边去了，给吧，这边那边看到那也没么就我了就，OK，然后 just do the heart sutra。Papa, mucho son la jada la de yeda yeda ba de jina chum de ne yibe ka chege pumbe le la yelong ye ginde chen bo da de sin be ginde chen bo da da bi do jo don de ze chum de de sam na che che ye nam la ye de ye zin la ni ba jo zo yang de ce jo san ba chen bo ba ba chen de se won jo she la ge pa re do chen ba sam me jo ba na mar da je bo bo ma bo de da la ya ba she ge tong ba na mar do ne san je je de zo da ne ba she le be jo san ba chen bo ba ba chen de se Diye cebe dori ye bon kana şarap ye pare do chuma sme chaba 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 de de na ba na orje de bon ba ba de ha je ye no na ma na ba ju so do so do ba ni so so le do ba ni she ma ye do ba ni le jang su she ma ye no de ju no so do je da na ma sha ba nam do ba o shari bo de da ra che nam je do ba ni de ceni me ba ma je ba ma ga ba chama me ba chama dan chama me ba ka me ba Sharibu de Davina Domani Sume, Torame, Jeme, Namar Shiba, Mime, Name, Name, Jeme, Lume, Ime, Sume, Dame, Jeme, Rome, Jeme, Jeme, Domini, Game, Bane, Yagame, Ije, Namar Shiba, Namjeva, Dayame, Mariba me, Mariba Seba, me, Bane, Gashime, Gashe, Badayame, Dodation, Dungan, Wadan, Kujun, Wadan, Gopadan, Lame, Jeme, Tobame, Madopame, Sharibu, de Davin. Jo dama namla dama me be jere sherab ye pare do jema la te rinne de sim la de ba me jin ta ba me de chi jero le shin do de ne 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 de be tara shin ye so no nama shu be san ye dam je gen sherab ye pare do jema la de ne na me ba yang da bo zo be chan ju do ngo bar zo bar san ge zo de dar be na sherab ye pare do jin be nga re ba chen be nga ana me be nga minya ba da nya be nga do nge nam jera do je war je be nga me ze be na de bar she bar cha de sherab ye pare do jin be nga me ba de da ga de barang ga de bara sa ga de bo de zo ha shere bo jo san ba 대다라지라 개발해도 좀 와서 뭐 라버 저거 되네 좀 nen데 띵해진 데라 전에 저 선바 뭐 봐봐 전에 세원줄라 레소 아시자와 진에 레소 이게 보대 되는 이게 보대 되는 저 이제 된 바데 신도 제가 개발해도 좀 와서 뭐 라저 버저 되지 신시 많은 묘지도 이랑 좀 nen데 이게 제가 전에 전에 마시라는 데보다 저 선바 좀 봐봐 전에 세원줄 남자다 집에 걸어가지다 나가다니다 나만이다 저 집에 지내 일하는 좀 nen데 이제 손발라 뭐 봐도 Pāpa ngūñchō sūngyē kāyé dē mē tō kē chē pā pār kio chē, mē pār kio chē, shē pār kio chē, rāb dā shē pār kio rō chē, dā kē pā chē tam chē mē tē mē chā chē nyē mā tā. Chē nīm gu rō yē sō hā, kē rē tōng kā kē chō shē wā tā, mē tē nē bē kē tā chē wā tā, tē pā rā chū chē, pē sō mō tsā kē, chē shē tē kiāng tēng tē tē lē shō. So the two prerequisites from the teacher's side is to do the self-preparation and to do the kektor, which are both done. Then from the prerequisite before receiving the initiation from the student side is to cleanse themselves with saffron water, tisang, and the saffron water, and then to make the mandala offering to request the teacher to bestow the initiation. So for that, we will now go to the mandala offering. Sangye chedan tagye janan ay chanjo pando tani kyasochi tagye cheso yime sanangye jola pekye sangye jopa resho sangye chedan tagye janan chanjo pando tani kyasochi tagye cheso yime sanangye Dola menje sangye dola sho sangye chetan sangye shona. Bardo dani gyatso chen dani chen sangye me sanangye. Dola menje sangye dola sho. Okay. So, before we start the initiation, the initiation of Vajrasattva, it is important for any Mahayana practice, because Vajrayana practice by default is a Mahayana practice. So Mahayana can be divided into two aspects: the Sutra aspect and the Tantra aspect. The Tantra aspect, Buddhist Tantra, is what we refer to as Vajrayana. Tantra itself is not uncommon to Buddhism, not unique to Buddhism. There is Tantra in other traditions like Hinduism and so on. Different aspect of Hinduism has different aspect of Tantra is there. Anyway, so yeah, then Mahayana practice, the term Mahayana is not to discriminate other traditions, the so-called Hinayana tradition. The Hinayana tradition, Mahayana tradition, Tantrayana tradition is not to discriminate the practitioner. Is not to
discriminate the practice. It is, or rather the practitioner even. So it is based on the fact that whether one is able to seek liberation, whether one is ready, whether one is ready to seek liberation at all or not, whether one is ready to seek liberation for oneself or not, or whether one is ready to, let's do it like this, whether one is ready to look for something better, higher spiritual plane, spiritual attainment in the future, most likely in the next life, afterlife, whether one wishes to have not only a better life in the upcoming future lives, better future, better rebirth in the future lives, but to have something more stable, known as liberation, basically total freedom from the suffering and the pain of samsara. Then whether you are content by having such a thing for yourself, attaining liberation, nirvana for yourself alone, or you wish to do more than that. And within so the first part, the first part where you are looking for something better, where you are looking further than this life alone. So say to be born in the Pure Land, different Pure Lands like Amitabha Pure Land, Medicine Buddha Pure Land, Genesis Pure Land, etc. So if you wish to have a better rebirth in the next life, then it is considered, if you aspire for a better rebirth in your next life, and then do any so-called spiritual practices or religious practices with that aim, then it's called a Dharma practice. It becomes a Dharma practice. It becomes a mere Dharma practice. Then if you do that with not only to have a good rebirth, higher rebirth in your next life alone, but to have total freedom from the samsaric trappings, all the suffering in samsara, to get rid of all of them, then it's known as seeking that part is called, basically you are seeking the liberation, self-liberation. It's called the self-liberation. Then if you seek liberation for yourself, and you are not really neglecting others, but you are not working on them. You're just working on yourself, your own self-attainment, self-liberation. So that part is called the Hinayana part. So it's a Hina meaning inferior or smaller. So the reason it's called that is because you are working for your own self-liberation, and just that. So it's nothing to do with, not necessarily nothing to do, it's got nothing to do with the sort of the, we have this kind of debate between the Mahayana tradition and the Theravada tradition, like all the Theravadas are Hinayana, So it's not necessarily sort of Theravada follower may not necessarily be a Hinayana. And the same thing applies if you belong to a Mahayana fellowship. It does not mean you are really a Mahayana practitioner. You may be belong to a Mahayana fellowship, let's say to a Tibetan Buddhist monastery, which profess to be Mahayana and Vajrayana. Bhutan, Tibet, Mongolia, we all profess to be the Vajrayana. So Vajrayana by default are Mahayana. So even though we belong to a Tibetan Buddhist sort of fellowship, does not necessarily mean that you have the Mahayana mindset. Therefore, you can belong to a certain center or certain temple or monastery, but still have the mindset of a Hinayana, or even worse than that, right? Even more inferior than that. So anyway, Hinayana basically means someone who is working for self-liberation. That is the Hinayana, the inferior path. So Mahayana, or the greater path, greater vehicle, The literal translation of yana is a mount, something to ride on. Yeah, mount. So Hinayana means the inferior mount. So usually it's translated as the vehicle, right? Like a carriage. So Hinayana and Mahayana and Vajrayana. So so you are working to have liberation, not just for yourself, but for the sake of all sentient beings. That's the we could refer to as Mahayana practice. So the reason I'm telling you this is in order for this is considered the initiations are part of tantric practices. So for an ordinary tantric practice to be classified as a Vajrayana practice, yeah. Tantra, as I said in the beginning, Tantra does not mean Vajrayana. Tantra does not equate Vajrayana. For this to be a Vajrayana practice, it has to be a Mahayana practice. For this to be a Mahayana practice, it has to be a Buddhist practice, or the understanding has to be there. So therefore, you need to have the bodhicitta or a simulated bodhicitta, yeah, because it has to be Mahayana practice. And in order to have bodhicitta, you need to have refuge in the triple gem because it has to be a Buddhist practice. So in order to have proper Vajrayana initiation, to be classified as a Vajrayana initiation, any tantric ritual, it has to have all these two precedent practice rituals has to be followed. So therefore, so most likely, I mean, we are all Buddhist, but to reaffirm our faith, our devotion to the Buddha Dharma, and our practices into the Mahayana path, we will take the the refuge vows and the Mahayana vows. Yeah. So it's a general practice to do that. So first we will take we will do what is known as the Mahayana refuge vows. And the Mahayana refuge vow includes the refuge as well as the bodhisattva commitment in the same sentence. So no, instead of doing Sangye Chodam, Sogye Chodam, now we will do the. So please repeat after me. Sangye Chodam, Socho La, Changju Pardo, Da Gyab She. That is the refuge part. Rangshen Tune, Rabju Cher, Changju Semni, Gebara Gi. That's the bodhicitta bodhisattva commitment. Changju Chogi, Semne Gegi Ne, Semjen Tamje, Dagi Jundu Nyer, Changju Jojo, Yewon Che Baragi, Jola Pincher, Sangye Drubara Sho. That is the bodhicitta. The previous one is the bodhicitta in aspiration, and the later one is the bodhicitta in action. Yeah, sometimes called the applied bodhicitta. I don't know what they call it. This is the true form of bodhicitta. Okay, one more time. Kunjo Sumla, Dayabchi, Degba Tamje, Sosor Sha, Jove Gela, Ji Rang, Sangye Changju, Yi So, Sangye Chodang, Sojo La, Changju Pardo, Dagyabchi, Rangshen Tune, Rabju Cher, Changju Semni, Gebara Gi, Changju Chogi, Semni Gigi Ne, Semjen Tamje, Dagi Jundu Nyer, Changju Jojo, Yewon Jebara Gi, Jola Pinche, Sangye Drubara Sho, Jola Pinche.
Sangye Dru Barasho, Rola Pincher, Sangye Dru Barasho. Yeah. So, so this is important. It's important to take the refuge for any practices, especially during initiations, so that your motivation is not skewed. The So you're not doing it for fame or, like some magical stuff, whatever, right? So you're doing it with a purpose to purify yourself, to accumulate merit, etc., so that you can practice you can advance your spiritual practices, and so therefore you can attain the Buddhahood. As we discussed earlier, that if you engage in any so-called spiritual or religious practices with the aspiration to have with the next life in mind, something better for the next life in mind, then it merely becomes a dharma practice. Okay, merely. If you less than that, if you do anything for this life alone, this life, right? Not thinking about the future life, but just for this life, whatever dharma, so-called dharma practice you are maybe doing, engaging in, it's artificial, it's superficial, it's superficial. The conduct is dharma, the practice is not dharma. Okay, very important. A lot of time we think going to like highest empowerment is etc. means you are receiving the best of Buddhist teaching, everything. The thing is, in empowerment, Buddhist empowerment, Dhamma empowerment is very high, advanced, precious teaching for sure. Yeah, no problem, no question about that in general. But if you do not have the proper motivation, then you do not have the proper storage system. So you are trying to store 10 terabytes in a 1 GB card. Right? So in order to store that much information, you need that much of the higher capacity of storage is necessary. Yeah. So the capacity is so there are different capacity. The Hinayana capacity, the Mahayana capacity, the Vajrayana capacity, or in others sometimes known as the small scope, medium scope, and the higher scope, the great scope, the greater scope, yeah, like that. There's this line from the Sakyapa masters, which is known as the four non-attachments, the practice of non-attachments. So if you are attached to this life, meaning any practices you do, any ritual you follow with something good for this life in mind, to have a long life, etc., right? To heal and this and that, with the mere your motivation is just for this life alone, then so if your motivation is this life alone, then it is not considered dharma. So you must have non-attachment from this life, pursuit of this life. Right? If you are attached to samsaric world, so you want something better for the next life, but then you want to be born as in the God realm, to become a very beautiful, heavenly, celestial being, very powerful king of the universe, etc. If you have a future in mind, but the future is still getting attached or getting stuck in samsaric pleasure, then it is not considered. It's dharma practice, but it's not considered. There's no renunciation there. Yeah, without renunciation, it will not become an antidote, right? Thinking of samsaric pleasure as a poison. So
it will not become, it will not be turned into, it will not be able to become an antidote to samsaric pain. Samsaric pain comes in the form of pleasure. So all the things that we supposedly enjoy in this life, the more we enjoy it, there is, the more we enjoy it, the less we tend to enjoy it. So it can be anything, for music, imagery, anything. If this is the ultimate happiness, ultimate source of joy, then no matter how much you keep experiencing it, it should become more and more enjoyable. Like a good music, it's a very good music. We enjoy it for a few 20 minutes, 1-2 hours. And after that, if you have to listen to the same music for, continuously, non-stop, then it's gonna make you crazy. The moment you heard that song, a lot of the songs that people like visitors find joyful, like let's say carnival music in a theme park. For a lot of us, it's fun, but the people walking there, it's you have to hear that every day. It's a nightmare, right? It's a headache. So just put on they usually plug their ears with the what do you call that? Huh? Headset or the plug or whatever that. It's unbearable music. And the same goes with any imagery. Yeah. Imagery, nice image, whatever. Yeah, we're talking about like the internet being very distractive and all that. But the reason it's so distractive, for example, like the reels, is because it keeps changing every 20 seconds or 10 seconds, it keeps changing. If you have to look at the same image, if reel is not a motion picture, but an immovable picture, then you cannot, people will not get stuck to the cell phone, yeah, because it's immovable, it's interactive to a certain level. And so most of them are 10 to 15 seconds. That's why you are stuck to that. Anyway, so it has to change in order to make us happy. It triggers what are the different chemicals are being released and this thing, right? We sort of feel that we are receiving they were saying that, right? That when the reason we got stuck to the reels and all this thing is because it gives us the pleasure sort of, it releases the pleasure sort of, endorphins, the oxytocin, all this thing. So in the past, people have to work very hard for it, right? Hunting, fight a war, win some, whatever you have to do physically, very strenuous job, this and that. Nowadays, without doing anything, you can actually get the same effect. So we basically what we did was make everything shortcut, right? And the shortcut has its own repercussion. In any case, samsaric life is in samsara, all the suffering is how to say, covered or coated in pleasure, and we think this is enjoyment, this is happiness, this is joyfulness. But in real life, the more we experience it, the more we experience it, the closer we come to suffering, pain. Yeah. So it's not something that you have not heard before. I guess you have heard this maybe more than 10,000 times, or read it 1 million times. The thing with Dharma practice, our teacher always tell us this, right? That this is not a novel book. They always like raise the book and say, hey, this is not your novel book. You finish and throw it away, change to another book, not like that. So Dharma book is supposed to keep at all time. So Dharma teaching, you might have heard it 1,000 times, but if you heard it intellectually and you can respond to it intellectually, but not instinctively, intuitively, then you need to read it more. Once you can register intuitively, then that's a different matter, right? That's why Dharma teachings, wherever you go, it sounds very repetitive, very monotonous. And the reason is it's a form of training. If you go to gym to train, you have to do all the repetitive things. They tell you to do it looks very silly to someone who is not used to gym or whatever. You have to do like when we weight the lift, keep lifting something 10 times. Sets is called, right? Sets. So yeah, you have to do something. It looks very silly to someone who is not no idea what a weight training or whatever that is. But to those who are serious about training themselves, you know, oh, there's a result for that. So yes, this repetitive, monotonous technique is a form of training. So anyway, so this is something that we need to remind ourselves that nothing in samsara is everlasting. The pleasure in samsara, and more importantly, you know about the three types of suffering, right? Suffering of change, suffering, and suffering, all pervasive suffering. So when asked to describe suffering of change, one teacher particularly said that suffering of change is nothing but the things we call pleasure in this world. Everything that we call that we think we derive pleasure from in this world, basically we derive pleasure from the five senses. Yeah, and all the five senses, the more we experience it, the more we try to, the more we experience it, the more we use it, the more we utilize it, the closer we come to pain. Yeah, so by perusing that, by utilizing that more and more and more, if your pain is going down, if your suffering is being lessened, if your baggage is being unloaded, then that means you're taking the right way, right path. Other than that, that's why we say everything, this is good, that is good. That in general, we have to say like, about food, about how to say, workout regimen, and everything. We say do everything in moderation, even the good things. Why? Because if you do more than that, then you reach a certain extreme where your body stop functioning, or you lose motivation, you are in pain. So many back what they call it, backfire, like that, So therefore, everything has to be done in moderation to enjoy, to derive benefit of that, right? So nothing is everlasting joy or full has. So this is we need to realize that, yeah. A lot of time we are drawn to the Dharma. One of the reason is a lot of us, we were born in a Buddhist culture, Buddhist family, etc. That's why we are doing it, because the people we love most, our parents, our siblings, and our the surrounding immediate earth, they all do that, so we do that. Another reason is because life is not perfect, so we want to have we need some reassurance. We need some sort of whether you call it or not, we need some miracle in life. We need some things to change, which we know will not change by engaging with the people that we usually engage with. So there has to be some sort of a divine intervention, which we are aspiring, even as a Buddhist, right? So we are aspiring for that. And that is the main reason we follow Dharma in general, which is not wrong. But the thing is, there are more benefits, or the Dharma can be used for something much more, much higher, much more than that, right? You don't have to use Dharma, you don't have to utilize Dharma for just that. You don't need Dharma for that. For that much, you can use many other things. For Dharma can be used for something higher purpose, something more. So therefore, especially when it comes to like the the Vajrayana practices, Tantra practices like empowerment, mantra recitation. We read the benefit of the mantra. We hear that it's it can cleanse, purify negativities of 10,000 years, this and that. And then you can have the ability to do this, do that, have have stunning, miraculous power, etc. And then we are drawn to that. We always deep down we always want something magical thing to happen, some divine intervention, because as the saying goes, we have that inner child, right? As a child, we are always drawn to something magical, this thing. So even as a young adult, even as an adult, we still have that aspiration deep down, and we're looking for some divine intervention. Even though Buddha said very clearly that I cannot give you my realizations, I cannot wash away your sins or remove your negativities with my hand. I can though, however, I can show you the path on which you have to walk yourself. So Buddha, the great chef, is ready to share his secret recipe with us, but we want him to cook for us. Right? We don't want to cook ourselves. Even the secret recipe, we don't. Okay, the secret recipe. Oh, the secret recipe. Wow, so precious. Okay, secret secret recipe is so precious. But can you please cook for me dinner? So that's what we are doing, right? And the secret recipe says you must cook your own dinner. Oh yes, yes. You must cook your own dinner. Please cook for me. Okay. So it's total the ironical, right? Irony. That's what we have been doing, and then we wonder why our life is not. Things are not going the way we want it to go, right? The navigation system, the GPS is telling you to turn right, and you have been turning left, and you are thinking, why is it still showing 20 minutes? It's been 20 minutes like since 40 minutes and still saying 20 minutes. It's saying turn right, but you have been turning left. You're not taking the right exit. So the main point, so the analogy for this analogy basically I'm trying to say is His Holiness Dalai Lama always said that study the Dharma, right? And I know that most of you who attend classes in TPC, you're more into studying the Dharma, serious study, right? I'm not criticizing or neglecting the power of rituals and all this, which there is, but then you have to work on it yourself. You have to know. If you know, then you can cook anywhere. Otherwise, you have to always take a chef with you, right? So therefore, so the analogy usually given in the tantric teachings is that tantric practices and rituals are likened to a sandalwood. Sandalwood. So one can use the sandalwood to crush oil and use it for different purposes, make statue and sell it for a very handsome price. Or you can just burn it and use the ash for very meager purposes as well. And to burn, you can. So a lot of time, what we are doing is we can use any other material to burn to get the ashes. But a lot of time we do not know the purpose and the usage of the sandalwood tree, and we use that to the best of our knowledge, which is to make ash. Right? So, okay. So the most important part is to have a proper motivation. First motivation is to look for something beyond this world. Yeah. and beyond this world, not only beyond this world, but something that can bring you out of samsara, but not to bring some to bring some to not only to bring yourself out of samsara, but to help all other beings as well. We'll come to this later, but the reason you need to think of getting out of samsara yourself first is if you do not have any idea how the pain of samsara, if you have no recognition of how painful samsara is, if you have no recognition, if you do not have the urge to escape samsara yourself, if you do not have the urgency to fear samsaric pain, samsaric suffering, all this, then there is no way you can have the same for other beings. So if you say, oh, I am of the higher sort of a caliber, you know, the Mahayana Buddhist practitioner, so I do not think about nirvana for myself. I'm thinking for the benefit of all sentient beings. And then they ask you, like, how worried are you about the earth, the samsaric world? Oh, I don't care about samsara at all, right? Samsara is like way beyond. I'm looking for the nirvana, right? Out of samsara. Nirvana means liberation from samsara. So nirvana is way too low for me. I'm aspiring for enlightenment, Buddhahood, and that too with the most advanced vehicle, which is the Vajrayana vehicle. That means you everything. That means you're on the wrong path. That means how to say, not the wrong path. Okay, let me rephrase that. You're on the right path, but with the wrong technique. Okay, so going on, when you must utilize the Vajrayana path with the aspiration to achieve enlightenment for the sake of all beings. So for that, you must be fed up. Okay, even at a simulated format. Okay, simulated format. In reality, we still have attachment, right? We have attachment to our loved ones, to our job, career, property, etc. So many things. But use this time to how to say, have a simulated renunciation, right? So that basically to recognize that everything in samsara is pointless, and not only that, whatever, not to mention the so-called suffering part, but even the pleasure parts, the pleasure things, the pleasure triggering things in samsara that also bring suffering. So therefore, there's nothing that you can attach to hold on in samsara. So therefore, you must think of samsara as a pitfall of a fire pit, and you have fallen into it. So if you are in such a scenario, then you will try your level best to come out of that. You will want to get out of that. So with that understanding, if you have a strong how to say, an urgency and a strong sense of fear, strong sense of revulsion against samsara, then you will also want the same thing to happen for others too. Because just like you are suffering, you see samsara as suffering, you don't want this to for anyone else. If you do not have that sort of that sort of sense within for yourself, then there is no way you can have the same feeling for others. Even if you say, I'm working for the sentient being is just a letter, SENTIENT. Okay, you're not really thinking about sentient beings. So therefore, yeah. So therefore, you need to renounce samsara, and then to aspire for the benefit of all sentient beings. The reason is very simple. If you already like apply, if you already applied that on yourself, that samsara is painful and all that, then you know that you can no longer bear it and samsara is painful, then you know that it's painful for everyone else too, just like you cannot bear the suffering. For example, if you like you would not touch a burning fire, right? And if someone else is going to touch without knowing, then you will tell them, don't touch that. Let's say an electric fence or something. And that's why we put the warning signs there, slippery, you might fall, etc. So we tell others that don't engage in that thing, so that you may suffer, right? So if you have suffered, and if you have recognized your suffering, then you will also be able to replicate, to empathize for others too. Otherwise, it's just it's a lip service alone. Yeah. So therefore, have this proper motivation to have all sentient beings out of samsara. If you have a very strong urgency for yourself to get out of samsara, then you can easily feel the same for others, because once you cannot stand that, then you have this sense of urge for others also to not do the same mistake. You will always feel that. A lot of time, we do. This comes easily. So in a simulated form, we just, okay, so visualize that you not only want to get a better rebirth in next life, but also wish to get out of samsara. And not only to get out of samsara for your own sake, but for the sake of all the sentient beings. So have such a commitment, such a commitment. Commit yourself to such a resolve yourself to commit such a commitment. And then, in order to become enlightened for the sake of all sentient beings, according to Dharma text, achieving enlightenment in general takes Tibetan word is Gelchen Tamesum. Gelchen Tamesum means kalpa is a eon. One kalpa is about 100 billion years. And Gelchen is, I don't know, 300 times that. And then Tame is a number in Tibetan, which has 60 zeros. And 3 times of that. Tame in Tibetan means countless. Okay, but countless is name of a number that has 60 zeros after one. That is known as countless, and after that becomes innumerable. After that is like real infinite, right? Before that is the countless number. So he's always jokes, why do Tibetans have so much number? We don't have that much money or property or anything. It makes sense if any sort of some advanced or developed nation has that sort of number, because they may have use for that. Tibetans, why do we have such a high number? It actually comes from the Sanskrit text, so it's not like unique to Tibetan or Buddhism even. It actually comes from the spiritual traditions that predates Buddhism, right? So I don't know what use they usually use this to count the number of planets and other things in the universe. Yeah. Anyway, so 60 number to achieve enlightenment in general is a very long time. Okay, at the minimum 3 billion years. So now, so this is like as we equate distance with light, or we usually use the term light here. Yeah. Similarly, something that instead of measuring the time that it takes to become enlightened in terms of time alone, we can use the time, however much of the number of merits that you can accumulate in, let's say, 300 billion years. If you can accumulate that much number of merit, if you can purify that much number of negativity in a shorter period, then your reward, which is Buddhahood, is also guaranteed. Okay, so you have to do what if you can finish something that usually takes for an able-bodied person to finish 300 let's say 300 years, just to be on a safer side. If you can finish that in a shorter period of time within your lifetime, if you're within a few months, within lesser, then you can also receive the same reward. And in generally 300 billion years, it can be reduced to 3 years, 3 months, and 3 days. By following the it's 333, okay. I think it's not exactly 333, but to make it easy to remember, they just say 333. Yeah, I was listening to one non-Buddhist teacher, from the he's a very good teacher. So from the tradition that predates Buddhism. So he was saying that Buddhism is very peculiar with numbers, you know, like four noble truths, eightfold noble path, 16 types of emptiness, like they're very big on numbers. In any case, so the to purify that much amount of negativity, to accumulate that much amount of positivity, it can be only done if there is a special method. In general, okay, then. So this method, we need to use something that is working 24 hours within us, for us and within us. We have within us and is working for us. For lack of a better word, is working for us. If you have to hire someone else to do, or to utilize an external method, then it's gonna take forever. Like it's said on the sutra. It's said on the sutra, right? In the sutra part, it takes 300 billion years. I'm just saying, in a very. So the tantra, what they use is they use something that is already within us. The method in Vajrayana. And it's not only something that is within us, but it's something very common, multitude. We have so much of that. And not only that, even if it's multitude, but it's in a, how to say, dormant state, it is inactive and is not useful, but they are active, they are and then even if they're active, they are weak, and it's not helpful. But we have, the Vajrayana uses something that we have plenty within us, in multitude, in millions within us. Not only that, it is active. Not only that, it's very strong. And the best part is that it does not need something to influence it. It actually works on itself, perpetually fueling itself. So utilizing that power to purify, utilizing that power to accumulate merit. That's why that Vajrayana or tantric technique is unique, non-conventional. So you probably know what I'm talking about, right? So Vajrayana uses something that we have aplenty, so much. From morning to evening, we have all these things within us, and active, strong, aggressive, you can say. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So we're talking about the afflictive emotions: attachment, jealousy, anger, hatred, disliking. So lot of us think that, okay, I don't have anger, I don't have attachment. You know, I can handle this. I think I'm quite good, right? A lot of time we think like that, but the That's on the surface. But deep down, we have disliking. Disliking can easily transform into anger if you are met with the right with proper circumstances, yeah, conditions and circumstances, yeah. So it can easily turn into they're all volatile basically, yeah. So it can easily change into negative, destructive emotion. So in Vajrayana utilizes the destructive emotions to destroy itself, self-destruction. So the things that is actually shunned in the previous teachings, like the Mahayana teachings, which is Bodhisattva related, or the Hinayana teachings, which is Sharvaka related, to do with self-liberation, like having proper discipline, conduct this and that. All these are actually broken down in the Vajrayana practices, or basically attachment, anger, and ignorance. Instead of regarding them as a poisonous things to be discarded, they were all embraced and then used as a firewood to burn itself. Yeah. So therefore, by using that particular technique, we will be able to burn our negativities much faster. Yeah, and we will be able to accumulate our merit in much faster as well. And more importantly, we learn about in Buddhism, cause and condition is the most important thing. Cause and condition, right? Cause and condition, sometimes we call it karma. And other times, karma, the topic of the theme of karma is also based on the fact that from a good cause and the bad cause, this is what we usually refer to as karma. And it comes to the basic cause and the law of causality, like from an apple seed, there won't be a mango, etc. Right? So it has to be from the proper cause, the proper effect will come. Otherwise, it will be all messed up. So in that sort of understanding, to have a perfect enlightenment, Buddhahood, Buddha has as an enlightened state, you have the perfect mental state, the omniscient mind, with no flaws, no fault, no obscuration and everything, as well as the perfect body, perfect physical appearance. Perfect body does not mean just about physical aesthetic alone, but the ability to transform into any physical form, big, small, soft, hard, any form, right? Any form for the benefit of sentient beings. That is called a perfect physical body. And the physical body, the physical aspect of the Buddhas, which is the result, the effect, also need a cause. That cause has to be procured during the training stage, which is like this moment when we are still practicing. And the cause and condition has, normally we talk about the secondary cause and what's the other one? The substantial cause. The substantial cause and the secondary cause, right? The substantial cause for the perfect body of the Buddha is very, the perfect mind of the Buddha is very clearly spoken in the sutras. But the substantial cause for the perfect body of the Buddha is not spoken, not described in the sutra. You can find that only what proper causes, physical causes will bring the physical body of the Buddha is spoken only in the Tantra, in the Vajrayana. So therefore, in order to have you can achieve Buddhahood through the Sutrayana path. But after achieving Buddhahood, in order to serve sentient beings, you need to manifest in so many different forms. And so those manifestation takes a physical and verbal form. right? In a sound form or a physical form. So that form can only be manifested if you know the technique. And that technique is only spoken in the Vajrayana. So that's why in the Vajrayana you have the mantra recitations as a cause for the Buddha's perfect sound or speech. And the physical, the proper causes for the perfect body of the Buddha, and what's known as the deity visualization. So visualizing the deity, you're visualizing yourself as the deity, you become the deity. And that psychophysical entity becomes the cause for you to achieve, even though it's a visualization. Visualization means mental, but it's a vision of a body. It's not a vision of a mental thing. When you visualize yourself as a deity, you are visualizing, which is a mental thing, of a non-mental thing, which is the body, right? The body of the Buddha. So therefore, that psychophysical projection becomes the substantial cause for the Buddha's perfect body. So sometimes people ask, what's the main difference between a Tantra practice and the Sutra practice? So the main difference is something that how to differentiate between what is Tantra and what is Sutra. The text, right? A Sutra text does not describe these things. So the causes for the Buddha's perfect body, the causes for the Buddha's perfect pure land. We see in the book, they say, if you do this, then you will be born in the pure land. The pure land is beautiful. That's it. What is the proper causes? What turns into the Buddha's perfect pure land, which is a property, right? A sort of a land. It's not land as we imagine, but it's, to a certain extent, it's a property. It's an estate. It's a real estate. It's the realist real estate. So, so that one, it's the Buddha's perfect body, the Buddha's pure land, the Buddha's perfect activity. Yeah, Buddha's perfect activity is to help sentient beings, bring sentient beings who are not liberated to liberation. That's the Buddha's mainly when we talk about the Buddha's achievement or Buddha's activity, his main activity is to bring sentient beings, to raise sentient beings from a lower plane of spirituality to a higher one, to alleviate their suffering. That's the main work. So Buddha's perfect activity, which is also a physical activity. You cannot just think of something and then it just pops up like that. In order to have a nice dish on the table, either you need to cook it yourself or you need to task someone to cook it for you. So something physical manifestation has to take place. Just by thinking, it doesn't happen, right? And in order to, let's say, to have a food being placed on my table, I need to not only manifesting it in my mind, I need to relay that message to someone. Say, please, you can do a grab order, Uber Eats, and they say, bring, then they will bring. So that message, just by thinking is not enough. It has to be relayed to the right, proper person. So that's where the speech of the Buddha comes in, right? The perfect body of the Buddha, the perfect speech of the Buddha, the perfect body of the Buddha, the perfect, activities of the Buddha, the pure land of the Buddha, and what we usually call the enjoyment part of the Buddha. So these four are, in other words, the four bodies, the four enlightened bodies. The proper cause for the four enlightenment bodies are only described clearly in the Vajrayana. So without taking too much of time, the Buddha's perfect body, the cause of the Buddha's perfect body is contained within the visualization practice of basically visualizing yourself as the Buddha. Perfect property or the perfect pure land, when you are visualizing the mandala of the Buddha, yeah, the mandala in the future, when you become the Buddha, that's going to be your mandala. So I always use this analogy that, when you want to buy a house or a car or maybe a dress, then you go to the shop, keep walking around, imagining yourself in that dress, imagining you sitting in that car, imagining yourself, living in that house. We usually do that. We transport ourselves to the future when we have already bought that house, right? And living in there. So that's basically what visualization practice is, and what visualization of Vajrayana. I think nowadays they use the term manifesting, right? So manifesting is not just thinking of something, it just comes true like that. It's envisioning something that you are going to achieve, and then you also work for it. If you do not work for it, none of these are going to come on by itself. Manifesting, you project it, and then also, prepare, make sure the right condition, everything, so that these things come out like that. So the mantra recitation brings the perfect speech of the Buddha. So it is said that of all the activities of the Buddha, the speech is the most, beneficial one, because through that, if you recognize that, if you are able to realize the importance or the validity, the value of the Buddha's speech. In other words, if you understand what he's talking about, then in a flip second, you can actually achieve realization. So there, you might have heard stories where during the Buddha's time, the Buddha Shakyamuni's time, there are many people come to listen to his teaching, and by the end of the teaching, they have different realization like arahat and the noble sublime being, arya, etc., etc. The reason is what he was saying, and they were able to click with what he was saying. So when you are able to get it, then you get achievement is just right there. So the attainments are just right there. So with this, the reason I took a very long time to explain all this, the background story, is that if you understand all this background thing, this background is gathering all the ingredients. Then when you have all the ingredients, the food is actually, the Vajrasattva recipe is actually pre-cooked. So it takes only a few minutes. Okay. So I'm supposed to speak in such a way that induces genuine renunciation and bodhicitta within you. I've been trying for the last 1 hour. But I don't know where I am. I don't know where you are. It's a very bad, did a very bad job. So I seek your so okay. Anyway, now we will go to the ritual itself. In order to practice the Vajrasattva sadhana, you need to receive the Vajrasattva, the ripening practices. So ripening practice basically means a form of initiation or empowerment, etc. So there was a question earlier from someone whether it's an empowerment or initiation. So so this particular practice, you might have heard of something called the 4 classes of Vajrayana, right? So I'm not going to talk about this today, so I'm going to wrap up now. In general, the 4 classes of usually referred to as lower classes. Only the highest yoga tantra is regarded as the high tantra. The other 3 are usually regarded as lower tantra. And lower is not about, again, just like the Hinayana thing, it's not about disrespecting the deity, right? It's about the practice being simpler or more sophisticated. Yeah. And Vajrasattva practice can be sophisticated too, in the form of in what you usually refer to as the HYT Tantra, like highest Tantra. And then you can also have in the what referred to as lower Tantra, but it's not lower as in being inferior, but in the practice being much simple. And the practice being much simple and much presentable. I think those of you who did the Nyungne, I shared that a little bit yesterday. So the Nyungne practice of Chenrezig is based on the action tantra sort of technique, Kriya Tantra technique, the lower tantra, and the first tantra, first class of the Vajrayana. And this practice also, this particular practice of Vajrayana is based on the Kriya Tantra, action tantra. So action basically means conduct here, and the conducts are very important. The main audience of the Kriya Tantra, the principal audience of the Kriya Tantra during Buddha's time were all former Brahmins. Yeah, Brahmin, non-Buddhist, but they're upper caste, non-Buddhist. So you can say Hindu. Hindu is a very fairly new term, like 200 years old. I think it's a mispronunciation of the word. Anyway, back to this one. Okay, so the main point is that because the main target were recent Buddhist, right? And that too with a Brahmanical background, so upper class Brahmanical background. So therefore, the presentation is very important. Hygiene is very important. Brahmins are, stickler for cleanliness, hygiene, not only like physical cleanliness, but also mental cleanliness. Yeah, a lot of Brahmins live, even their family people, they live their lives similar to our, let's say, a monastic. You are supposed to live like that anyway. That's the rule of your creed. And so therefore, the Kriya Tantra form of Vajrayana practices are always very presentable. Always have to stickler for cleanliness. That's why you are sort of requested or recommended to be on a vegetarian diet, even though you can still receive it without. And that's why when you come in, you have to take the water to wash, cleanse, and everything. The saffron water to cleanse and everything. And the deities are usually peaceful. And so because this is the Kriya Tantra, it's a solitary practice. Yeah. And the higher Tantra, it comes with a consort. So because it's a solitary practice, it's very simple. But the most part of the practice is similar. Because as a Kriya Tantra, it still shuns attachment to a certain level and anger and all these things. So therefore, there is no sacred union with the consort. And so the technique is a little bit more simple. Yeah. But still the purification part is there and all that. Yeah. So there's no different the difference between empowerment and initiation. In general, in the lower tantra, there isn't any difference. Yeah. To be initiated means to be empowered, because once you are initiated, you are already empowered. In the higher tantras, then to be initiated and you will see a lot of mini initiations within an empowerment. So empowerments, actually, I think the reference they used was mini empowerments within an initiation. So you are being initiated as part of the initiation process. You your mind is empowered, your body is empowered, your this part, that part is empowered, like that. So the technique is a little bit different as you go higher up in the thing. So probably talk about this sometime later when we have more time. So in order to practice the Vajrasattva sadhana, that basically means to visualize yourself as the deity, you need to receive ripening the mind, ripening. Ripen means basically you need to be initiated. That's the term. So there will be a lot of terminologies that are used, which is not, part of the vernacular, and it's rightfully done so that the practice can be kept well within the practice is not shared with people who have ill intention, etc. Okay. In order to practice the sadhana, you need to receive an initiation. In order to receive the initiation, you need to receive all these things which is done. So with this proper motivation, you need to have a proper motivation, which are already initiated. And now you must repeat after the teacher. What the thing is, the body, the wisdom body of the Buddha, which can clear, or which can splinter the wheel of samsara, which can destroy the wheel of samsara, lies within the teaching that you are going to bestow. So may I please have that? So that is the request. So you can repeat after me. Sibe korlo namjongwa Tiring shebe rinchen ter Zoye dala gajin ze Zoye dala gajin ze Zoye dala gajin ze. So now with a very strong intent, have the you very strong intent, you wish to have the Vajrasattva initiation. Okay, now with this, visualize that the place that you are reciting at the moment, even though there's nothing wrong with it, but visualize this as the abbot, the Pure Land of the not as an ordinary place, but as the Pure Land of Vajrasattva. And at the same time, visualize this Dharma here with the white umbrella, because I supposedly have done the self-preparation. So visualize this Dharma and the picture of the Vajrasattva there, as the Vajrasattva himself being there, not as a drawing, not as an image, not as a picture, but as Vajrasattva actually being there. So have this vision manifest. At the same time, visualize that the person who is bestowing the empowerment, the initiation, myself, as the Vajrasattva too. And at the same time, above the space above you, because this is a Pure Land, it's not an ordinary place. So this space is vast. This place is vast, as vast as you can imagine. And in this space, in this Pure Land, the space above you, this vast space above you, is filled with all the lineage gurus, basically the guru, the deity, Vajrasattva, the Buddhas, such as the historical Buddha Shakyamuni, Manjushri, Shenrisi, Amitabha, the 7 medicine Buddhas, the 35 Buddhas of confession, so on and so forth. And then all the Bodhisattvas, all the Dakas and Dakinis, the Vajrayana practitioners, high-level tantric practitioners, all the Dharmapala, Dharma protectors, are all invited, have all graced this place, this space above us. Okay. Oh, so you're supposed to receive the refuge vows and the Bodhisattva vow with this horde of deity as a witness. So we missed that one, but still it's the same. We just imagine that you were taking the vow, Bodhisattva vow, as the refuge vows from them, which you have already taken. So just make a very firm commitment that you wish to take refuge in the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, and you wish to use the rest of your lives to study, to practice, to train, to recite the Vajrasattva practices and the mantra and visualize Vajrasattva so that you can attain enlightenment, which is the complete Buddhahood, Samyak Sambuddha, for the sake of all sentient beings. You want to become the best of the best, the Buddha, but not just for yourself, but for the sake of all sentient beings. Okay, now visualize that when I did sprinkle the water, that clear your dualistic mind of the fact that there is the object and the subject. So subject and object are two distinctive things, as in the sense of the subject being totally, object being real, really out there, and the subject just merely glancing at it, which is not the case. The object and subject are both dependent upon each other to be existent. Without the object, there's nothing that you can identify as subject. Without the subject, there is no object. It's like the left and right. There's right because of left because of right, and so on and so forth. Everything that we observe is there because we have observed it. If there is no one to observe it, we're not talking about human beings or this person, that person, but in the universe, in the whole of the universe, there's no observer at all. Then nothing can exist without an observer. Everything that exists does so because it is observed as such. Something has to observe it. And to be observed, there has to be an object. So the observed and the object, the observed and the observer, the subject and the object, they are both mutually dependent upon each other. They both verify for each other's existence. So they are both in the same flavor of being empty of inherent existence. The subject does not truly exist on its own. The object also does not truly exist on its own. None of them are superior to the other. The object is reliant on the subject is reliant on the object. And this applies for everything in the universe. So this is known as the vision of emptiness. With such a vision, visualize, now we are creating the cause for the physical aspect of the Buddha, right? So this mental projection of emptiness, mental apprehension of emptiness, or the idea of emptiness, transforms into lotus flower. Lotus represents transformation. Comes from a mud, but there's no mud. So on the lotus flower, there is a moon seed. On that moon seed, there is a letter hum, white hum, which represents your mind, your consciousness, your mind, your mental attribute is represented by that white hum. That white hum transforms into a white Vajra. It's usually called a 5-spoke Vajra. So normal Vajra is 5-spoke. 5-spoke means on the top and on the 4 side, that's a 5. So on the 5 spokes on the top, 5 spokes on the bottom. This is usually referred to as the 5-spoke Vajra. So it turns into a 5-spoked Vajra. That Vajra has a letter hum at its center. So Vajra has at the joint of the upper and the lower spoke at the middle. There's a letter hum. Powerful light radiates. Okay. Powerful light radiates from the letter hum at the middle, at the center of the Vajra. And then it does 2 things. 2 things means does the activity for yourself and the other beings. And then it transforms into, after that, it comes back to you. That light emitting from the Vajra comes back. And then you turn into Vajrasattva. You become Vajrasattva. So in order to have a clear picture, we take a look at the Vajrasattva picture on the book. There's a Vajrasattva picture there. Right hand is holding a Vajra. The left hand is holding a bell upwards. Look, Vajra is method or compassion. Bell is wisdom. Especially when it comes to Vajrayana, Vajra represents bliss. And the beauty is that the bliss and the wisdom are not 2 different entities. It's basically the 2 different functions of the same entity. So you have a right hand and a left hand. Even though from the hand side, from the perspective of the hand, they can differentiate between, okay, you are the right one, you are the left one. But from the person's side, they both are part of the same person, the same human, same body. Similarly, the bliss and the wisdom are different functions of the same mind. In other words, to make it more clear, the wisdom, usually wisdom we associate with thinking in the brain. Emotion, joy, suffering, we associate with the heart. So the wisdom, which is the intellectual, can feel, is emotional. The bliss, which is a form of joy, is emotional, positive emotion, is also intellectual. The intellectual is emotional, the emotional is intellectual. You can be emotionally intellectual and intellectually emotional when you become a Buddha. So that is the meaning of the inseparability of the Vajra and the bell. So whenever, so the bell is raised up and is adorned with all the fine garments of a celestial being or a prince or royal individual, has the 80 minors, 80 major signs and the 732 minor marks. Basically, the signs of an enlightened being. It's in a fully crossed leg. Legs are fully crossed. On its heart, on your heart, basically, you have become the Vajrasattva. So I will keep explaining, but if you look at the picture yourself, it's much clearer. A picture speaks 1,000 words. A picture speaks louder than 1,000 words. What's the phrase? Picture speaks better than 1,000 words, or something like that. Right? Yeah. So you just do 1,000 words. So it's in cross-legged. At the center, it is heart or its chest. Heart means chest in most of the Vajrayana practice. At its chest, there is the moon disk, same lotus flower, lotus seed, and moon cushion. Moon disk is the cushion. Lotus flower is the seed. At the heart of the Vajrasattva, which you have turned yourself into, is the lotus seed. On the lotus seed, there is the moon cushion. On the moon cushion, once again, there is the letter Hum, white Hum. And from that letter Hum, the Hum shines very brightly. That becomes like the bat sign, Batman. Yeah. So it actually calls it becomes a sort of a invocation call for all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of 10 direction. And all the Buddhas were invited. And then through your crown, through your head, they enter within you. All the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the Buddhas, they enter you. And you and the enlightened beings become one. First they enter, then they become one. And they become, first they were invited, then they become one. And then first they're invited into space, then they enter, then they become one, and then they turn into complete bliss. Za Hum Bam Ho. You might have heard this term before. Za is to invite, Hum is to enter, Vam is to become inseparable, one. Ho is joy. Invite, enter, oneness, and then joy. Once again, the letter Hum from your heart shines brightly. Okay. Shines brightly, and then it liberates all sentient beings. Yeah, like that. Now with this, you request, this is called, usually request as called the uncommon request or special request. Earlier, the request to teach is known as the common request. This is the uncommon request. Basically, this is the request coming from this very lineage. It basically asks the Lama to bestow that. Special here means it's called a special request because it actually now goes a little bit more detail. Instead of saying, give me the Vajrasattva teaching, it says, give me the specific Vajrasattva teaching. So specific means the mind, body, and speech blessing of the Vajrasattva. Yeah. So to repeat, you need to repeat this one. We are basically saying the preceptor, the guru, who is the representative of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, past, present, and future. With compassion, please bestow upon me the Vajrasattva, the 3 mind, body, and speech blessings of the Vajrasattva, mind, body, and speech initiation of the Vajrasattva. Yeah. Tuzum Sangye, Tamjeki, Usun Tuki, Lobyenki, Dala Doje, Semba Yi, Usun Tuki, Jenantul, Usun Tuki, Jenantul, Usun Tuki, Jenantul. So you requested the Lama to give the 3 types of initiation, mind, body, and speech initiation. With this, now visualize that the Lama, the Guru, which is in the form of Vajrasattva, as well as all the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, basically the retinue that you have visualized in above the space above you. And then the Vajrasattva sitting here, the Wangdor. There's a letter Om, white Om, from the Guru's forehead and the forehead of the Vajrasattva. That Om is encircled by the 100 syllable. So 100 syllable actually means, you might have read the 100 syllable Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manubala. It starts from Vajrasattva Samaya and it ends at Vajrasattva A. Hong Pe is additional. Om is additional and Hong Pe is additional. Minus the Om, right? Vajrasattva Samaya Manubala, Vajrasattva Nobody, Vasuda Hayama, Vasuda Hayama, Vana, the Mevasa, the Mevasa, Sadam Shirikurum, How, Vahan, Swata, Vazum, Mahasamaya Sato. That is 100 syllable. Yeah. So before Mame Munza is 50 syllable, and after Mame Munza is 50 syllable. Om is additional, A and Hum is additional. In general, it is said that for the Vajrasattva 100 syllable in general, reciting the A and Hum is extra work. Basically, you don't need it. It's additional. But you will see many times that Lamas reciting Vajrasattva with the A and Hum, sometimes also adding the pet, A, Hum, pet like that. And this depends, as I said, in general, Vajrasattva practice, the most common practice is the Kriya Tantra, the action Tantra. But when it comes to highest Yoga Tantra, like Heruka, Chakrasamvara, as well as Yamantaka, then, like prior to engaging in the actual practice of Yamantaka, the deity, which means Yamantaka himself, takes the form of Vajrasattva. So Yamantaka takes the form of a Vajrasattva. So all these deities like Yamantaka, Manjushri, Acharya, there's a way to think of them as an individual person like you and me, like specific people. At the same time, you can think of them as a sort of a position, like a president or a chef or something like that. So for example, like Cherezik is the job assigned to the president of land of compassion. Yeah. And Vajrasattva is the president of the land of purification, like that. So in that understanding, when we are doing a Heruka practice or a Yamantaka practice, before engaging in profound Heruka, highest yoga tantra practices, if you have a very strong karmic bondage, you will not be able to engage purely in the highest yoga tantra. So therefore, in any spiritual practices, if you are very heavy with karmic debt, so in order to purify a certain, to lighten your burden, Vajrasattva practice has to be done. So think of Vajrasattva as the president of the land of compassion, land of purification. So in that case, Heruka takes the position of the president of the land of purification. Okay, just making it simple for you. So in other words, like to use the literal word, Heruka takes the form of Vajrasattva. And in which case, you can add the home and pet. Home pet, like that. Home pet, all these are additional. Okay. In any case, so 100 syllable means up to a. So it's the letter Om is encircled by the 100 syllables. And when this circulation is done, the circling is done, at that moment, like at the same moment, white nectar oozes out from that encircling. So when you squash the grain or different things, or maybe you squash some cashew nut or whatever, then the oil starts coming out, or the juice comes out. So similarly, white juice or the white nectar comes out. So nectar is a quite misappropriated kind of term. The actual term, the more sort of a closer term is ambrosia. Yeah. So ambrosia is the drinks of the god. By drinking that, the gods, you know, in usual mythology, gods drink ambrosia, and that's why they live very long. The Tibetan, the Sanskrit term is Amrit. Amrit, yeah, Amrit, usually A-M-R-I-T, Amrit. Tibetan we say Duitsi. In any case, Amrit is form of two words, A and Mrit. Mrit is life, A is no life. So basically that means no end to life. Amrit, Amrit. I is a negative word, and then Mrit or life. Sorry, Mrit is death, no death. Yeah, no death. That means eternity, no death. Mrit is death, okay, not death, not life. My mistake. So Amrit means no death or eternal. Like that, Amrit. So the Amrit coming from the deity purifies your negativity. Yeah. So the Amrit comes, Amrit drops down. You know, the Guru is in the form of the Vajrasattva. You are in the form of the Vajrasattva. The deity here is also in the form of Vajrasattva. And then there is the horde of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who are also here, but they're also in the form of Bodhisattva. And from these, the letter Om, the source of the letter Om and the 100 syllable encircling their heart, while it's encircling, the nectar or the ambrosia is being churned out, and it's dropping, and it drops into you through your crown, the aperture, the opening in your crown. Through that, there's something called the 3 chakras. You have what is known as the chakra of great bliss, which looks like an umbrella. It has 32 spokes, like that. So through that, through the central chakra, central channel, of course, and then through the central chakra. So channel is like the shuttle, and then chakra is like the point, the bus, like a bus stop. So one point here, 1 point here, 1 point here. We need only 3 channels today. Three chakras, three chakras today. So the forehead chakra is known as the chakra of great bliss, 32 spokes downward. It fills up all the channel in your forehead. By that, all the negativities that you have accumulated in your past lives and all the sicknesses, all the obstacles, everything, especially negativity, especially destructive karma, negative karma stemming from killing, from stealing, from sexual misconduct, basically the 4, these things, and especially that of physical activity, any negativity accumulated through physical activity. And additionally, physical activity that may have, that may have been harmful to your guru. And so all the samayas that you have broken in line with physical activity are all being purified. And at the same time, you have received the blessings, also known as the initiation, of the Vajrasattva's holy body. So visualize like what I just said. Aveshaya basically means it's being cleared out. Then next is the speech initiation. Once again, visualize the 3 objects, the guru, the dharma here, and the hordes of Buddhas and the retinue, which are in the Vajrasattva form. From their throat now, from their throat side, letter A, red A, is encircled once again by the 100 syllable. And when this encircling is being done, it was able to churn out it is churning out innumerable ambrosia of red color. Once again enters through your opening at the chakra and goes up to what is known as the chakra of enjoyment, or chakra of Sambhogakaya chakra, which is 16 spokes facing upwards, like a plate, upwards. This is 32 downwards, umbrella-like. The throat is upwards, red color, 16 spokes. With this, all the negativities associated with lying, telling lies, making up story, whatever, all the things, creating rift, schism, so on and so forth. The 4 from the speech related, the 4 negativity from the speech related thing. So basically, any negativity that you have committed, you have accumulated through your speech has been purified. And then any command of your guru that you have broken, basically any instruction that your guru has given you and you have broken them, speech related, that has been restored. And at the same time, you have received the Vajrasattva's speech blessing or the speech initiation of the Vajrasattva. Om bedas da samaya mona pala bedas da namara da vosu da khaime vosu da khaime bana da me vosu hasi me vosu da masu me da me vosu ha wa da benza ma me moza benza ba ma samaya sa da a vishaya om bedas da mona pala bedas da Sawa kama suzu me da me vosu ha wa da 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 bedas da bedas ba ma samaya sa da a vishaya om bedas da samaya mona pala bedas da vosu da khaime Another member was also the member of the Muslim Muslim ha ha ho or so the Muslim Sabe next the same three objects the guru the dharma and the deities from their heart. There's a letter hum, white hum, which is also encircled by the 100 syllables in the blue color. And through the encircling of that mantra, blue ambrosia, blue amrit drops down through your crown, the opening in your crown, and goes to the Dharma chakra at your heart. So the Dharma chakra is eight, what do you call it? Spokes, yeah, 8 spokes. Dharma chakra has 8 spokes. And so the Dharma chakra is actually 8 spokes, but it's like this, like a, how to say, like a shell, yeah, like a shell. It's like a shell. Then all the mind-related, mental-related negativities like ill intention, jealousy, ignorance, basically all the mental-related negativities that you have, and especially things that you have done to, how to say, provoke your guru, as well as make them, how to say, disappoint your guru. All these things are also purified. And at the same time, you have received the heart, the heart or the mind initiation of the Vajrasattva's mind, initiation of the Vajrasattva's heart, or the initiation of the Vajrasattva's mind has been received by you. Another member was also the members of the Muslim how about the other members of the Muslim as Abishaya, next is to receive the mantra, the transmission of the mantra of Vajrasattva. So visualize that the same 3 objects, the guru, the dharma, and the horde of deities above the space, at their heart, the same but lotus seed, white lotus seed, moon cushion, and the letter hum, which is encircled by the 100 syllable mantra on the 3 objects, the guru, the dharma, and the deities. And at the same time, a replica of the similar mantra is directed towards you. Yeah, especially it comes, the one that is sitting at the guru's heart comes out from his mouth, from my mouth. Then it enters through your mouth, you, the student, who is in the form of Vajrasattva. So it enters to you, the student, you, the Vajrasattva. Through your mouth, it enters. It enters, and then it resides at the same Vajrasattva mantra that is encircling the letter hum. at your heart, which is sitting on a moon cushion and a lotus seat in a clockwise manner. Then as it keeps encircling, the ambrosia keeps dripping from it, the nectar, the amrit. It fills up your body, starting from the very bottom, like the feet, all the way up to your crown. The nectar has filled up all of your body, and all the negativities that you have accumulated in this life and the lives before has been purified. And especially all the negativities, all the samayas that you have broken through mispronunciation of the mantra were all purified. At the same time, you were able to receive the blessing of the speech. So we did receive a speech blessing earlier, but this is like a speech empowerment. And at the same time, you are now fully empowered. Fully empowered means you were able to utilize the full potential of the Vajrasattva's mantra, 100-syllable mantra. So you can repeat after me. Om Vajrasattva samaya anupalaya Vajrasattva denopadishta jido mebawa sudo hayo mebawa subo hayo mebawa anurakto mebawa sarvasiti meparyaza sawakarma sutsame sitam sheyam puruhum ahaho bhagavan sawatatakata benza mame munza benza bawa mahasamaya sato om benza sato samaya anupalaya benza sato denopadishta judo mebawa sudo hayo mebawa subo hayo mebawa anuragdo mebawa sawasidi meparyaza sawakarma susame sedam shiriye puruhum ha ho bhagavan sravatatakata benza mame muza benza bawa asamaya sato benza sato om benza sato samaya nupalaya benza sato denopadishta judo mebawa sudo hayo mebawa subo hayo mebawa anuragdo mebawa sarvasiti meparyaza sawakarma susame sedam shiri puruhum ho bhagavan sravatatakata benza mame muza benza bawa mahasamaya sato ahum. So there's always this big debate about Benza or Vajra and this and that thing, okay? Because the Tibetans usually mispronounce it as Benza. So in general, what I usually do, and what I've seen His Holiness also do is, of course, I think the Sanskrit proper rendition is Vajra, but the lineage that we have, the transmission that we have, like from multiple masters, is Benza. So while doing the practices, while doing the chanting, while doing the initiation, etc., sadhana, I usually recite Benza. His Holiness always does that too. Of course, His Holiness knows the difference between Vajra and Benza. So a lot of experts try to correct it. My understanding is that it should not be corrected while chanting. But if someone asks you, is it Benza or Vajra? It's Vajra. If you want to go the liturgical way, the lexicon and all that, it's Vajra, not Benza. But there's something called the Nga Nuba, Nga is mantra, Chilab is blessing, Nuba is potential. It's something that you receive from your master. So whatever the way he has recited it, you must chant it. It's called an incantation. So it should be chanted the way he chants it. So whatever is the right pronunciation doesn't matter here because this is not a language class. So yeah. Yeah. So if you are doing a Sanskrit language class, then of course it's Vajrasattva. But in general, if you are doing the practice, it's Vajrasattva samaya. So after this, so can you distribute this? Someone come in and please distribute this. Okay. Distribute among everyone. So after this, you are offering, okay, you're visually offering the flower to the Guru. And envision that the Guru has given, he was pleased with your offering. Like you would offer the kata to the Rinpoche, and the Rinpoche usually returns the kata back to you. Similarly, the teacher has returned the flower back to you. You offered in appreciation, and the Guru returns it to you in recognition. Yeah, and he returned it to you and has placed it on your head. So basically, you offered it to the teacher, and the teacher gave it back to you and put it on your head. So we should visualize like that. So I could have come and given to each of you, but today let's do it a little bit shortcut. Okay. Okay. After this, repeat after me. Yeah, just take a bit. Yeah. It's better. You're supposed to share it with others. Yeah, just give. You need only a few. Okay, then put it on your head. Think that I put it on your head. Okay, repeat after me. Chomden dila chinla ki. Dila gowaran zedo se. Ngaki ngudru tsene kyang. Tushu temba zedo se. So you have offered this to the Guru in appreciation, and the Guru, in recognition of your devotion, has returned it back to you as a form of blessing. So you can keep this as a blessing. Keep it on your head. You can take it home later, yeah? Okay, then let me do you. So the light ray, the letter Hum from the Guru's heart shines, and then it shines to the Dharma here. And this actually activates the Vajrasattva image there. And from that, so which image, it's an image, that image actually produces a replica of the same, another Vajrasattva comes and then comes to you. Comes to you and all the sentient beings around the world in the universe, and then it purifies, it remedies or restores all the negativity, all the obstacles are squashed, everything, all the negativity basically cleared. At the same time, the Vajrasattva at the same time, the Vajrasattva that you are envisioning on the space above you, that Vajrasattva from all the pores of the Vajrasattva's body shines bright light and touches every sentient being in the whole universe. Mm. And that light emits from the pore of the Vajrasattva, and on the even it's a light emitting. Visualize that light is in the image of the Vajrasattva union, Vajrasattva and the Vajrasattva union, Vajrasattva consort, and it touches all the sentient beings, purifies them, alleviates their suffering, and the same Vajrasattva enters the body of all the sentient beings, every sentient being in the universe. At the same time, nectar flows from them as well. And it not only purifies their negativities, it also transforms their physical, their flesh and body, physical body, into that of the translucent body of the Vajrasattva. And all these lights are returned back to the Vajrasattva in front of us, in the space in front of us. And then from that Vajrasattva, from the Vajrasattva in front of us, which has already done the flushing and returning of the light, once again, powerful light emits from its pore. Now these lights are in the form of the offering goddesses, offering deities, like Argampa, Devi, Bedeva. And this now becomes, it becomes a offering for all the sentient beings. So basically you shine the light to purify, alleviate the suffering of all sentient beings. That action of alleviating the suffering of all sentient beings is something that delights the Buddha. So what is delightful is puja. Usually we say puja for offering, but puja for all type of practices. We say puja, puja, puja. The Sanskrit term puja means to delight, to please. So what delights the Buddha is helping sentient beings. There is a saying in the Junju Bodhisattva Charya Avatar, Simjin Guje Matope Sangye Gebe Tapshin Me. Other than pleasing the sentient beings, other than delighting the sentient beings, there is no other way to delight the Buddhas. Yeah. So because you alleviate the suffering of sentient beings, the Buddhas are delighted. So now you are worthy of making an offering to the Buddhas. With this, you accumulate lots of merit, because by purifying sentient beings' negativity, you purify all the negativity. By making such an offering to all the Buddhas, you accumulate a lot of merit. So you did the two greatest things: purifying negativity and accumulating merit. And thus, the glory, the fame, all the good things, good qualities, all the positive qualities of the Buddhas also come to you. And then your body, you yourself, your body, your being, your body turns into a translucent body. And translucent body, transparent, translucent, transparent at the same time, it's luminous. Then the Vajrasattva in the front of, on the space above you, melts into you. And your mind, body, speech, which was earlier unenlightened, imperfect, full of flaws, has now turned into the Vajrasattva's perfect, unflawed, enlightened mind, body, and speech. Now, your mind, body, speech, and the Vajrasattva's mind, body, speech, there are no differences at all. Chomden de la chela gi no jesen ba jing ye lo ba tu de ne ne so ne ne do zem ko ma do ta be la ro shune ja ta wa jing ye lo ze la cho la te mo do ta da ni do ze do se. It basically said that I give blessing to you may you receive the blessing of the Vajrasattva. And from now on until enlightenment, I will take Vajrasattva as my deity, Idam. And may I be able to do so. May I be able to take the Vajrasattva as my practice without any obstacles. So after this, you have received the Vajrasattva mind, body, speech, plus the mantra transmission of the Vajrasattva. And after this, it's important to recite the mantra. So this is from the text. If you recite the mantra of Vajrasattva at least 21 times, at least a day, 21 times, okay? Then this is actually not only in the book, but in general, we say reciting the mantra of Vajrasattva. It says that any negative karma you do, if you, let's say, kill one ant, if you do not confess, purify it, then tomorrow it's multiplied for killing 2 ant. Therefore, tomorrow it's 4 ant, etc. Like it's basically multiplies. If you recite Vajrasattva 21 times, that the multiplication process is stopped. Okay. Then if you stay in a retreat, or even if you're not in a retreat, if you recite 100,000 times, 100, each set of 100,000 times will be able to restore each of the samaya, Vajrasamaya, like samaya is the commitment. So any commitment, there's something called the Vajrayana commitment. So any commitment that you have broken after taking the Vajrayana teaching and vows, such as, I don't know, criticizing the Dharma, criticizing your Guru, creating a rift between the Dharma brothers, etc., whatever, all these will be purified if you recite it more than, as I've recited for 100,000 times. And in general, there are 2 ways to restore the Vajrayana vow. One is through doing the proper restoration, the 100,000 recitation, or to receive initiation through proper master. So once you have received it yourself, then you can do something called self-initiation, and through which you can restore your your Vajrayana commitments that have been broken. Okay, so with this, we conclude. And then, after this, we can come to receive the blessing of the Dharma. Okay, that's it. Gewanti Nyudonda Lama Sangin Choguranen Chowa Chidamari Di Salang Gubara Isho Chanjo Semjo Rembo Chik Mage Panam Geguru Chik Keva Nyamba Onen Kondo Pewara Isho Tangri Ravi Korbe Shingamsu Pendon Dewa Maluju Chere Sewa Tinzin Jamzoi Shabe Sinde Bardo Dengyoroji. So the flowers you can keep as a token of receiving the empowerment. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, come one by one. Is it? Yeah. Yeah. So as you like normally people come to take the blessing, right? So you can come in that. Yeah. Nah, don't just
So can we one by one?
So you can come, yeah, people can come one by one, like you will receive the blessing in general. Yeah, just come to me. Yeah.